Welcome. My name is Andrew, and this is the Who Dat Discussion, our New Orleans Saints podcast, where we talk about all Saints news, opinions, and reactions. So before we get to talking about some Saints news and a recap of Saints versus Falcons, which was obviously a win in that category, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not getting the episode out on Monday or Tuesday. We're having some technical difficulties, but we just did a redo of the episode, and now it's going to be better than ever. So with all that said, I think we should get right into some Saints news. So the Saints, they've been trying out a lot of defensive backs and actually signed cornerback Aaron Springs to a minimum deal off the practice. Basically, he was off the Kansas City's practice squad. He has a lot of potential, a lot of physical talent, a lot of physical attributes. I mean, obviously he's just a rookie, raw talent, definitely very raw. But just looking at him, I mean, he played all 4 preseason games for Kansas City. We got him from Kansas City, and he actually started the game there. In that total, he had 13 tackles. He had a pass defense in the game he started in week 4. But I mean, he was good enough to make the team. He made the team, but in 2 weeks, I guess we just took him off the practice squad once he was off there. But going into it, I really feel like he's a good pickup. Now, look, he's probably gonna be a special teams guy. And a guy that just could give depth, but I think he could do a lot for this team. And just looking at it, probably won't do that much. I mean, he did also play at Oregon. That's where he went to college. He's just an undrafted free agent this year. He was good at Oregon. He started 3-year starters. That's obviously really, really good there. He had 2 picks in his career. He's a very, very good tackle there. So I think it just shows that, he is going to be a good player. But the whole Saints defensive back situation, they tried out a ton. Also a notable tryout was Sterling Moore. He played 2 years for the Saints, and, he was, pretty good in those years. Gave a lot of veteran depth. He's played for 8 years, so he obviously has that depth. He actually had 2 picks in the 2 years with the Saints. I mean, he had 15 pass defense. He did a good job, 50 tackles. I mean, he wasn't amazing in that, but he did enough. He was a good veteran presence. I would re-sign him. That would be the guy I sign. But they signed Springs. They also worked out numerous cornerbacks like David Emerson, Dimitri Goodson, and also Prince Charles Aurora. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. But between all these guys, I mean, they're probably gonna have to sign a couple, because right now Patrick Robinson going on to IR. We know that, and that's going to be a huge loss to this defense. Obviously, we'll get into that later when we talk about the DBs, but they did not play well in the last game. They haven't really played well all year. But, that's going to be a problem here. Also, what you could do, you could sign Eric Reed, who played for the 49ers, but he has a lot of political, stuff going on with him. So I don't know if we want that. We usually don't like those distractions. I probably wouldn't add him because, we don't want distractions. This is a good group. We don't need that. But I feel like, he's definitely a talent that I think we should look at. He plays all around. You gotta love the versatility. I know Sean Payton loves versatility. And, he could be, kind of a talent that is pretty good for us because he plays safety. He gives us safety depth. He would give us cornerback depth. I mean, he plays all around those positions. So I feel like, he could be a good addition. But, everyone hasn't signed him for a reason. I mean, sometimes you just got to back off. On paper, it looked like a really good move, but we'll see. If this team has another bad week, then I say sign him and, see what he can do here. But, yeah, I feel like if this team's good, hopefully Crawley bounces back. Maybe P.G. Williams is a little better in the slot, and Crawley plays on the outside. See how that works. Maybe we'll have a good week there. And then, you don't need to sign him. So I don't think you have to overact over 1 week. If it's now, 4 weeks, I think then you got to do something. But I think right now you wait 1 more week, see what they can prove, and then try to get better from there. So, with all that said, I think we should get to our Saints-Falcons recap. So the Saints won this game 43-37 in a thriller, an absolute thriller. I mean, what a game. I mean, you can't really say anything how much good Breeze played, who we'll get into our group-by-group stuff, and, he obviously played amazing there. The heroics that he did, running in 2 touchdowns, the game-winning touchdown, played great. The defense didn't play well, but it just did just enough there. I mean, just little notes and some records that were broken. So first, just the game in general. I mean, this game, between the first 3 games played in the NFC South, that was the most points ever scored in the first 3 games of divisional matchups ever. That broke the NFC South record they had a few years ago. So I think that's an interesting stat. And also, Drew Brees beat the completions record. He beat Brett Favre, past Brett Favre in that. So he is the most there. And also, Michael Thomas has the most catches through 3 weeks. I mean, just looking at that, all of these records broken, just shows how good the offense is this year. And I really feel like this offense has been the most, efficient Saints offense because we're going for long drives. Maybe not the big plays, but we've methodically drove down the field. And that's why I think you want, especially kind of high in the defense a little bit, which may be needed. So I feel like when looking at it, I feel like we've done a really good job on offense. to me, much better than last year's offense, probably better than 2015 and 2016. I think, it's one of the better offenses, and I think this offense is, a championship offense. Dare I say, knock on wood. I feel like the offense is there, and then once they get Mark Ingram back, it's just watch out, I mean, we're almost done with that suspension, and then we'll get a real running game back to go along with the passing game, and, we don't really know how to beat us because, just the way that how versatile we are there. But, we'll just go right into the group-by-group preview. So, first, we'll start with QB and how the Saints upsetted the Falcons there. Breeze, give him an A++++. The way he played, he, led this team to victory completely. This was a vintage Drew Brees performance, and I don't think any other QB can do it. The way he did, just looking at it, he did throw for 400 passing yards, 5 total TDs. The stuff that he was able to do is, magnificent. He had just about 80% completion percentage. So, looking at that, I mean, it's amazing how he was able to do that. Also, from that position, Taysom Hill played huge. He had a lot of great runs on third down, clutch runs that we need to see from him. He's been a jack of all trades, and that just continued there. But I feel like just the quarterbacks, Breeze, when we look back at all of Breeze's performances, I think this could be a top 10 performance of his regular season performances. That's how good he was. I mean, he had a QB rating of 121. I mean, just looking at it, amazing stats. Matt Ryan also played really well, but Breeze outplayed him, just because if Breeze won that game, that was whoever won was going to outplay each other. I mean, it was just something that Breeze knew, and it's really hard something to do where you have to know you have to score every possession, and this team did it, and led by Breeze and his, it was just amazing. I mean, I don't think any other QBs really could do what he do besides like Brady. I feel like the only other QB right now, he's played like the best QB, or at least top 3 with Mahomes and, Fitzpatrick. I think now he's outplayed Fitzpatrick after Fitzpatrick had 3 picks. Breeze, he's been very good in basically being efficient and also being able to move the ball down the field to Mike Thomas and, maybe not using as many weapons but being just as efficient. I think he needs more weapons, but, sometimes when they're not getting open, you got to lean on guys, and he was able to do that. He made great decisions. I mean, it was really the game, the way it flowed, it was going to be, Breeze was going to win this game. They were going to go as far as Breeze went, as far as Mike Thomas went, as far as Kamara went, and, they went really far and they won the game. Obviously, a huge win and a huge job for Breeze to grind it out. I mean, the way he's played, he's playing, at 39 years old, he's playing at top of his game, and I don't want to hear any declining right now, getting knocked on wood. Hopefully none of that happens, because I think he's playing at the top of his game. Onto the skill positions, I'm going to give them like a B+, because they were much better than weeks in the past. But, they weren't, I think, the best they can be. Kamara played extremely well, 15 catches. I mean, just looking at it, he also had 66 rushing yards. Didn't have a TD, but, he also 15 catches, 125 yards. Doing that is amazing. Mike Thomas with the 10 catches, 130 yards. That's always amazing by him there. But, looking at every TD scored, it was not by Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara. That's what I think is really good. We are much more balanced. The tight ends played really well. I think you got to look in that. Between Josh Hill, who had a catch for 17, and then Ben Watson had 5 catches, 71 yards. That's what you want to see out of him. Really good job there. Ben Watson made some amazing catches, especially at the end of the first half. It was we were looking to score a field goal, and we needed just one throw up the seam. It was kind of up, the left seam there, and he went right up, made a beautiful catch, and that's what he wants to do there. I think that's what his job is, and he did really good in this game. And just Zach Lyon caught a TD. Meredith, who had a very clutch catch. Really good job and effort to get in the end zone. That's what we want to see. And Ted Ginn also had a touchdown there. He also had some drops, so, that was a little iffy. But he did a good job, considering that he did score the TD. A very clutch TD in the beginning of the game. That was really good. Breeze obviously had the 2 rushing touchdowns, so that was good there too. But, the way this team, they were able to, get finally rushing yards. And, they did it creatively by, Taysom Hill, Ted Ginn and Kamara. I mean, Taysom Hill had 40 yards. Ted Ginn had 1 rush for 20. So they weren't really leaning on Gillislee anymore, not really Jonathan Williams. They really were leaning on, obviously, Kamara, but then they also gave rushes to Taysom Hill and Ted Ginn. I think that was really creative by Sean Payton, a really good game plan there to get them open. Breeze did spread the ball a lot. I mean, I think he gave the ball to, 9 different receivers. Just looking at that, that's a really good job there. I mean, they played good enough, this group. They played good in the skill position. They played good enough to win. They got to get their B+. That's good enough. I mean, they're getting better every week, and I think this is a really good job to get more people involved. A lot more people touch the ball this week, which is also a really good thing. And I think it's kind of a sign for better things to come here. And I think once Ingram's back, I think this group will be in the A range. So I really feel like that's the talent we have. Onto the offensive line, they got a flat-out A. they were able to, protect Breeze, which is really, really good there. But not even that, they were able to open up some running room for Kamara on the outside zones, and they were also able to, in some plays, on the trick plays, like once again, they were able to block it really well. The Taysom Hill plays, they were able to block really well. Really good job there. I mean, we had a couple of false starts, but besides that, everything was really good. I mean, we stopped Vic Beasley. Got to give it all to Teron Armstead, who played really good there. And they had some good pass rushers. I know they were missing Tack McKinley, which obviously helped, but they're still a pretty good pass rush there, and we stopped them completely. Breeze basically had a clean pocket the whole game. That's why Breeze was really, did what he did. It was partly because of the offensive line, because he got a lot of time, got a lot of time to ball down the field, and that was a really, really good job there. I mean, and Pete was out, so Liberia stepped in, played really, really good. Again, no problems there. I mean, I think he had one false start, but besides that, he did fine there. I mean, looking now onto the defensive side, I mean, a little more negative. I don't think it was actually that negative. I think there was really two things that this team did, and it really hurt them, and that was the reason that happened. It was really on the secondary and penalties, up front, with the bad penalty being by David Onyemata on a field goal play. But we'll get to that on special teams. But just looking at, defensive line position, I mean, Cam Jordan played amazing. I mean, he had 2 sacks. He also had a tip pass. He's just playing very, very good. And when he's getting double teams, he eats up the double teams and still getting sacks. That's really, really good to have a player like him. And he says he can do better. And he said, I just want to get back to the film and practice. That's what he was saying after the game. So the way he's able to do what he does is just insane. I really think that he's going to be on to better things coming, because I think he really just wants to get better. I mean, 4 sacks in 3 games is amazing, but I think he wants to get better, which is even more insane. I mean, opposite him, Marcus Davenport got his first sack, so congrats to him. He played really, really, good in the first half. Second half, he kind of faded a little bit, but he was really good against the run, too. I mean, he didn't play that much. He's kind of splitting with, Alex Okafor. Okafor was great against the run. Again, he's been pretty efficient over there. Really looking at the tandem of Rankins and Onyemata, played really, really good this game at defensive tackle. Onyemata just had the penalty. He's making some stupid mistakes in the penalties now. That was happening before this game, but it continued in the special teams, which we'll get to a little later. But he played really, really good up the middle. Rankins played really good to stop the run. They did this, this defensive position and this defensive group played really good. The line, so I think you got to give it to them. I think they did enough to win this game. They got the win. They got enough pressure, and I think they need a little more pressure. But right now you'll take what they get, and it's up to the. I mean, look, they're not going to get. I'm going to give them like a B plus, because look, they would be an A or A minus if they were able to cover the defensive backs for playing bad. If they weren't able to do that, that's why they did their job. That's why you get your B plus average. Good enough to win, but to go over the top, I don't think they did that. Or I think we wouldn't give up that much points. I think they were good enough to win, but they weren't great. The same thing with the linebackers. I'll give them like a B plus right there. I think they did not really good enough. I mean, they played good enough to win, but they didn't have enough to cover the back end there. They did great against the run. They did great against tight ends. Really did good against running backs in the flat. But, when they were asked to cover wide receivers, which obviously is really hard, but we couldn't really play nickel defense. We just had to play base, and on third downs, when they were bringing in 3-4 receivers, we couldn't really cover them. We had, Klein had a couple of really nice plays in coverage. He played really, really good. Same with Demario Davis. Those two played really, really good. Anzalone played better in this game. So I feel like just looking at it, I think they played really good. Also, Klein, the way he was able to cover some plays, he had a big rush at the end of the game on a blitz. That was a really nice job by Dennis Allen to call that blitz and dial that up. That was really, really good. But I feel like this group, they played good enough to win. They did their job. See, if everyone did their job, this group would probably get higher. But they weren't able to cover, the back end. And I think that would have been above and beyond and really helped for 2 of these groups. Both of these groups, if they were able to cover the back end, but they couldn't do that, and the back end still, they were getting, beat bad. And then onto the defensive backs. I mean, there's nothing really you can say here. It was, bad to worse kind of sort of thing when, Patrick Robinson got hurt. He's broken ankle, so he's most likely he's on IR, maybe out for the year. We'll see how that, progresses. But I feel like just looking at it, Lattimore played much better. That's a big positive. He's played extremely, extremely well in the last 2 games. But, everyone besides him and Marcus Williams, they just haven't been good. Even Marcus Williams wasn't great in this game, but he was really, really good in the Cleveland game, so I'll give him a pass there. I mean, you're looking at Ken Crawley, who's just regressed. I mean, at this point, he's regressed. Same with P.J. Williams. Not like P.J. Williams had a great year last year. He wasn't that good in the slot, but he regressed too. He was supposed to start over Crawley, be good, and that, experiment did not work at all. Not at all. So, you're bringing, Crawley back. He did a little better. Not really amazing. I think he was getting better, though. I would have not sat him. Now his confidence is all down. Now you're going to have to coach him up. He's got to play good next week. I have confidence in him, and you got to have confidence in him because there's no one taking his spot. If we're going to be good in this back end, it's going to happen here. And I think, Aaron Glenn's got to figure this thing out. He's got to help them. I think they're going to have to, just kind of shield these 2 cornerbacks a little bit in any way they could. Marcus Williams, I bet will give them help always. Strong safeties. Kurt Coleman and Von Bella have to play better too. Because if they're not playing good, they cannot help. Really too. Kurt Coleman has been, below average, hasn't been like the worst, but hasn't been great, and you don't really hear his name called really. And Von Bella has been playing progressively better, made some really, really nice plays against the Falcons and against the Browns, so good there. But I just from Kurt Coleman, I don't think he's done that much. I think we need a little more out of him if we're gonna have the back end struggle, with Crawley and PJ Williams. So I feel like if those guys are struggling, we need other guys to step up. And they really haven't. And I feel like PJ Williams and Crawley, they could be better. They're saying it's communication issues, but I think it's more technique issues, and they really got to figure that out. Go to the film room. You got to figure out what you're doing wrong. You got to fix it really, really quick. Coming in, I feel like Crawley, he's getting beat deep. There's nothing else you can say. He was just getting beat. He got beat by Julio, and he got beat, in the last game by Callaway. That wasn't communication. That was just him getting beat. And looking at PJ Williams, he's just getting burned by Calvin Ridley, who's, good. He's a good receiver. He's a, first-round talent, very, very good. But he's no Julio Jones, or, he's no, Antonio Brown here. We should be able to stop him. And he was getting completely burned. He was giving way too much space to, get the, the engine started, the acceleration. It was too much. You can't guard him, giving him they weren't even playing press coverage really. They were just giving him all this room, even like on slant routes. They were giving him room to catch the ball. It's too easy. You can't have that happen. And that was really what PJ Williams was doing. I'd rather Crawley, at least Crawley plays press coverage. Maybe gets beat from time to time, and he got beat. He's getting beat a lot lately, but maybe he gets that fixed. Do a little better there. And I think as much as Lattimore, he's played, he played good the last 2 games, and he stopped Julio pretty good, and then moved him over to Ridley, and he shut down Ridley. But once he, goes and really gets into that Lattimore, put him on the Lattimore Islands, kind of comparing him to Reeves, until he gets that good like he was last year, I feel like he is going to help the whole defense, but we'll see what really happens there. I feel like Crawley is going to have to, I think he's going to be the guy that has to get better, and he has to stop the regression, sit back, watch the film, evaluate his play and get better. And I think that's the only way you're going to do it. Probably not going to happen over the night. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll have a really good week next week. We don't really know. But I think this defense, for it to be really good, is going to need the other side. Because, what defense is it going to do? Even if Lattimore follows Odell, which, and let's say he stops him to an average game, they have Shepard, who's a very, very good weapon there. They're probably not going to have Evan Ingram, which I'm hearing from, Giants friends. He's probably going to be out. So I think that's a big deal there. And I feel like just looking at it, I feel like the way the Giants, to me, they like to pass it short because their offensive line's not that very good. And I feel like our defensive line, if it gets to, their O-line, beats them, gets to Eli, will probably be in good shape. But in this game, I probably would play a zone to try to help the line and everything, because I feel like, not help the line, help the backing, because they need guys in there. So that's why I bring in Sterling Moore, because he could probably play cornerback. As when Arian Springs is going to the practice squad, he's not even going to go to the, the actual team here. But, maybe he gives them help, but I don't really think, he's going to give them help. The worst thing here was, cutting, Arthur Millette. We cut him, and Robinson gets hurt. That's really big. Maybe even try Justin Hardy there. He was good in the preseason. Maybe he can play a little better there, but I don't even know. I think Crawley is going to be he's going to solve the problem if this problem will be solved, I feel like. Or you're going to have to go, if you can't solve it this week against the Giants offense, they're not world beaters. They're an average offense, but they're not world beaters. And not like as good as the Falcons, so I guess we'll see there. And we'll see, maybe we have to sign Eric Reed then if we can't, do that. I think he's the best available. He's a solid player, and sometimes you just have to take the off the field issues when you're desperate. And I think you may have to do that here. You just tell him, be quiet, do your job, and, we'll just try to win games. He probably likes winning. Just, win games. That's what we're here for. If you have other motives, then we don't really, we don't want you to mess up this locker room. But I don't think he will, because I really think he's going to care about winning now. And, sometimes you kind of have to take the other motives if it's ready to win. I feel like he's a guy that I don't think the Saints like to sign those guys that, could create distractions. I think, they usually don't. Looking back, that's why they traded Brandon Cooks. That's why they traded Jimmy Graham. That's why, they released, the Bird incident there with him not, obviously working out. It was starting to cause, it was in the locker room. It just wasn't they don't want to create a bad chemistry in the locker room. They don't want to create a lot of noise in the locker room. They just want to go down and work. And that's kind of like the culture they had here. So I think if you bring in Reed, he'd probably follow that culture, because I don't think he's that bad of a guy. He's a really good player. So, you just get all that stuff out of the way with him. And I think he'd sign him if we have another bad week. But, you don't really want to sign him because, I really believe that the guys in-house can get the job done. I really do. I really think Crawley's a good player. We saw him last year. He was good, and he really regressed a lot. I think he can get back to at least that point, or at least close to that point. No injuries. He's got to work now. Maybe he was coming in cocky, but now he's obviously been humbled, not starting games. So I think he's got to come up, play better, and do what he's got to do to play really good opposite Marshawn Lattimore. Excuse me. Because I think that's what we're gonna have to do there. On to special teams. I mean, you got to give him an A- here. The penalty, obviously, but David, you can't do that. I mean, I'll just get into it right now. We were tied at that point, and we are going to go down by 3. We would have won that game in regulation. We wouldn't even need it overtime, I mean, we'd ended up winning by like 5 or whatever it would have been if they only put up a field goal if we went down and scored. I think that can't happen, looking at it. Just looking at that play, that's the stupid errors that lose games. Because we go in overtime, Falcons get that ball first, they go down the field and score. That's not a good look. It's just not. So I feel like coming in, they're going to have to really fix that problem. That's a stupid error by Onyemata. If he does that again, you're going to have to bench him. I don't care how good he's playing. Unless, you're like Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, or Alvin Kamara, or on the defense, Cam Jordan, and, Marshawn Lattimore. If you do stupid plays, you're going to get benched. So he just can't make that happen, and that's going to be Onyemata's troubles. He's got to stop it. He's made a lot of stupid errors in the first 3 weeks, and it's got to stop because I think the next one could ruin, maybe a game, and he's going to get benched for it. I think he's a really good player. I don't want him to get benched. I think the stuff that he's able to do is really, really good stuff. His technique has gotten better this year, and just his sheer physical ability has been really, really strong. But, obviously the great things why this team got an A-. Number one, that Lutz was very, very solid. Thomas Morstead was really solid, changed the field on a couple drives. And then also the block pump by Alex Okafor. What a play by him. That play was just really, really good. It was on a conservative play. It was a conservative pump block, and they actually got to him. Obviously, never punt. The Falcons punter gets punted blocked a lot, and I knew it was going to be a factor in this game. It could happen. We almost got to him a couple times, but we finally got him Okafor there, and that was the turning point of the game. It was, because that really put the offense in. Once they got the ball short field, that really got him in gear, and then after that, they scored basically every possession. So that was just a huge play for both sides. Quieted the crowd a little bit. They scored a touchdown, got a stop, and then they got the ball back, and then we got the pump block, which was huge. It quieted that crowd. Who was ever in there? It was like half filled. I mean, the Falcons, I don't know if it's because it's a new stadium and everyone's on the concourse with all the restaurants and stuff like that, or the fans are not just coming to the stadium, because, in a divisional game being half full, it's not a good look for that team. The Saints always sold out. Everyone's in their seat. These guys aren't even in their seat. How can you get crowd noise if the people are not even in, the stadium bowl in the lower, that's where that's supposed to easily be filled. And it was half. And who knows the upper deck? They don't really show the upper deck, but that was a bad look by them in my opinion. But back to the game, I feel like it was just a really good play, and that's what gave this team an A-. I think it would have been an A if the penalty. It would have maybe an A+ if it wasn't the penalty. But I feel like the penalty almost lost them the game. You got to put them down there, even though it was one player. It's a problem. Justin Hardy did really play well. Taysom Hill played really good. Alvin Kamara had a couple. I think he had one nice punt return. But besides that, I think we did really good on that note. And then coaching. I got to give him A-. He played amazing. He out-coached Dan Quinn. The game plan that he put up to spread the ball a little more around, I think was really, really good. Get the running, make it a little more complex. Had a couple of nice plays with Taysom Hill. Again, they went back to the outside zone with Kamara. That was really good. Not try to run the inside zones that Ingram ran. Now they're trying to go back to the outside zones that Kamara runs. That was really, really good job. Kamara was much better running the ball in this game. So I think really good job by Sean Payton. Really good job by the offense. Also the defense. Dennis Allen made a couple of nice adjustments at the end that really got the stop, to win the game and bring it into overtime. So I think that was really, really big as well. So now on to our Who Dat Nation fan questions. We have one question this week, and that question is by Domegoer9 via email, and he has thoughts on the New York Giants game ahead. And, I think just going right into a little preview in this game, I feel like, look, it's an away game, so it's going to be a tough game to win in New York. I think it may rain that day. Hopefully it doesn't, but, because Brees has complete good positions to throw the ball, and it's supposed to be pretty hot, like 70 degrees, but, I really feel that, looking at that, stadium, I think it could get loud, but, usually it's not as loud as our dome. I think we can win there. I think they have obviously a home field advantage, but I don't think it's, we don't really win that much, though, in MetLife. I think in the Breeze era. I don't think we've won any games there, so I think that's kind of important. Try to get the first win at MetLife. That could be a very, very big deal there. But I feel like, I mean, looking at, the Giants, I feel like you got to give them that they have some skill position players that are going to be hard to stop. OBJ, which you're going to have to probably put one-on-one with Lattimore, and then also they have Saquon too. We stopped the run well. This is our first, test against Saquon. Let's see what we can do here against them. I think we'll be fine against them. I think we'll do fine. But, I feel like those two guys are going to be a problem. They have a really good back end. They have, Janoris Jenkins, who's really, really good, and they also have Landon Collins. Those are really good players. They're playmakers. They, I think looking ahead, I think those are going to be the players that, could give us trouble, those 4 or 5. Eli's also average. I feel like he's a player that, as far as, if he's a good team there, he can do really, really good and look really good. If he doesn't have a good team, he's not going to look very good. Got to call him average, maybe a little above average. I know he's from Louisiana. He's, a lot of people like his father here, love his father. I feel like he's also, he's kind of the kid there, the Manning son. So I feel like, the Manning here in New Orleans obviously really big. So I feel like, some people, when they're not playing the Saints, they're kind of rooting for Eli Manning, some people. But, I feel like he's average. I'm not going to say he's great. But I feel like that's really the Giants. I think they're going to, against us, I think it's a pretty good matchup against us because they don't really have linebackers to stop Kamara. And, I feel like that's going to be a big problem with them. They're either going to have to blanket him or they're going to have to just, take his 15 catches or whatever he's going to get. I don't think, and also they don't get pass rush, so if you're not able to get pass rush, Breeze can just pick you apart, then I don't think it'll be an issue there. And, they also, what they do is they do a lot of short passing. I think that can be really good for us, as, we're obviously having that trouble with the cornerbacks. We will have to play zone, we can do that, and also we can get pressure on them, and they'll have to throw the ball short. I think that's what we do, and we do it well. I think it'll be really, really good there. But I think, looking at it, I feel that the Giants, they're about, an average team, I think. Maybe a little below average, but I think they're good. Next episode, I should say, it's going to probably go out Friday. This coming out a little late, so this may put us behind schedule a little bit, but I'm, calling for Friday. We're going to have, my good friend and super fan, Giants fan, Nick will be on here. He's a huge Giants fan, knows about the league as well. And very informative about, football. He watches tape on the Giants. He's just a big, big fan there. So, he'll come and talk a little about the game, a little about, an outsider's perspective on the Saints, so I think that's what we'll do there, but, with all the Giants, I feel like, it's going to be a tough game. It's a away game. I think we can grind it out and get the win. That's how I feel. So I think with all that said, I think it's time to wrap up this podcast. So, if you like this podcast and haven't already, please follow us on Twitter at the WhoDatDis, on Instagram at WhoDatDiscussion, and, just our last post on Instagram, got a lot of, very popular there. I think it was our, most, liked post, and also it was liked by, Mike Thomas. That was really, really cool. It was also liked by Chris Banjo, so thank you to both of them. They're probably not watching this, but, if they ever come and listen to this, I think that would be, be really big. I think that's, just for that it was obviously really nice to have that. I just say thank you very much to them. And also you can follow us on Podomatic at the Who Dat Discussion. And then also, please subscribe to our YouTube, Google Play, and iTunes channels there. We're at the Who Dat Discussion on there. Please comment, like, and also, leave a review, leave a rating. That's just really good for us. We can see the feedback we're getting, how to, get better at some things, what we're doing good. It's just good to see the progress. I know that, we're growing, and, it's really nice. We're getting a lot of new listeners and stuff like that. That's really, really good stuff there. And, I just love talking to fans. So, if you want to reach out to us, you can leave comments, obviously, on all the sites I said. And then also, you can email us at thewhodadis@gmail.com. That's also good. You can, tweet us on Twitter. You could ask questions on our Instagram post. So, a lot of stuff that, we can interact with you. That's what we want to do. That was our goal from the beginning, to interact with the fans. And, just give some nice Saints talk. Because I think, we're growing, and it's really good to see. The Saints, 2-1, they grinded out a couple wins. That's really big. And now I think it's time to, be really big if we go 3-1, and coming home, the Breeze, the big game, where he could break the record, looking that way, the way, he's played early in the season. So I think that could be a really, really big game. The Dome would be pumped. And then that then going into the bye. So I think, if we win a couple in a row here, that'd be really, really big for the morale of the team, and just get a complete win. I think this is a game where we could get a complete win, a really good win, grind it out, kind of the wins we got last year in week 3 and 4. But, with all that said, I wanted to say thank you, prove them right, and who dat?